Hey friends, back with another Bible in a Minute, Genesis 31. So it's been a little bit since I've posted a video, so you may need to go back and watch Genesis 30. This is the chapter when Jacob and Laban, his father-in-law, agree to the terms to his employment. After Jacob has had a bunch of kids, Jacob tries to leave Laban. Laban says, no. Like, God has blessed me because of you, so name your wages, whatever it is, I'll pay you. Jacob names him. Laban cheats him. Some animosity is created by this whole situation because Laban's sons realize that Jacob is taking away our father's wealth. Like, he's taking our inheritance. And so they start to get very angry with him. Laban starts to treat him differently too. But then something amazing happens. God came and spoke to Jacob. Now, we don't know if God actually spoke to Jacob face to face as God spoke to Abraham, and God appeared to Jacob, when they wrestled, which will happen later. But God said to him, I will be with you, tells him to return to the land of your family. And he says incredibly important words, I will be with you. Jacob then talks to his wives and says, look, you know how your father's treated me. You know how he's changed my wages multiple times, and how I've become really our family has become too big to handle this area with Laban's flocks and my flocks and everything. So I believe God is directing us to go back. And they said, look, hey, our father treats us like property, so do whatever God's told you to do. So while Laban was away shearing his sheep, Jacob loads up everybody, all the livestock, the whole family, puts them on camels. Oh, the family puts them on camels and heads out of town. 3 days later, Laban finds out that Jacob is gone. Well, Laban is obviously furious because he hasn't been able to say goodbye, if that were his only intention. But clearly, Laban is not the most honest individual, and he was deceiving Jacob, who in turn had to deceive Laban to get what God had promised him. But God came to Laban in a dream, and he said, do not say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. I'm warning you. So Laban catches up to Jacob and he says, why did you leave? I would have sent you away with a party. Why did you go? You didn't let me kiss my daughters goodbye. You didn't let me say goodbye to my grandchildren. Like, you left secretly. You didn't tell me you were leaving. You just took off. And I have it within my power to do harm to you, but your God told me I am not supposed to say anything to you, good or bad. Well, what has Laban just done? He's basically just given him a veiled threat. I could have hurt you. I could have harmed you, but your God intervened. Now, in the process of leaving, Rachel does something very ill-advised. She actually stole her father's household gods, which means that Laban was worshiping idols. He was an idolater. So Rachel steals those and hides them. And Laban says, look, you didn't have to do all that, but why did you steal my household gods? And Jacob is like, what are you talking about? Anybody who has taken your household gods deserves to die. But look around, look in my tent, look around in everything I own. You're not going to find them because I didn't take them. Well, Rachel had them, but she was able to figure out a way to not actually reveal that she had them. So she gets away with it. And Jacob goes off on Laban, rightfully so, because he worked for him for 20 years and he changed his wages multiple times and just exhausted Jacob with the work. But God has blessed Jacob because he intends to make a nation out of him. So they make an oath there at this place. They call it Mizpah, which means watchtower. And as they say, may God watch between me and you when we're apart. That you're not going to do, Laban says, you're not going to do my daughters and my grandchildren harm. And that you're not going to cross over to do me harm either. The thing that really stuck out in this passage for me is that verse in verse 3. When God comes to Jacob and he says, I will be with you. Folks, there are times when God calls us to do hard things. There are times when God asks us to step out in faith. And one of the things that sometimes I tell a story and I talk about that, the fruit of a tree doesn't grow near the safety and the shelter of the base of the tree. It grows on the limb. It grows out there where it will be pelted by the rain and the hail where it will be scorched by the sun. And here's the point. If you want to bear fruit for God, you've got to be willing to go out on a limb. That's what God is asking him to do. God is asking Jacob to go out on a limb and trust him that he will protect him from Laban and his sons and all the men that Laban could muster together. He says, I will be with you. And that's enough. When you've got God and a promise, that's all you need. And I encourage you, if you are holding on to something and you don't see how it's going to happen and you don't see a way and you're struggling to see how any of this is going to come about, I'm a living testimony of how many times God has said, he's promised something, and all I had was that promise to go on, but that was enough, and God kept his word. So I encourage you today, dig into Genesis chapter 31, and go ahead and read Genesis 32, and feel free to comment, share, tell me what you think. God bless.